Welcome to the chat where the deals get done. Real estate tips and a whole lot of fun. Think different, achieve your goals. Real estate simplified, that's how we roll.
Good morning. Mike Cruz, broker owner of Reside Real Estate, here with Brandon Rizik, Allied Mortgage.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Doing great. Fresh off vacation.
Fresh off vacation, got a nice tan. Everybody's happy.
And I hear you have some news in the interest rate world.
Interest rate world has gotten much, much better. Thank God. We are starting to see them come down. We've probably come down 1/4 to 3/8%.
Wow.
In actual rate
Okay.
in the last probably 10 days, 8 days or so. And it's basically mainly because of the jobs numbers, the unemployment numbers. There's still a lot out there with inflation.
Yeah.
But right now, with the employment numbers and the wage job numbers that have come out since the late last week, it has just been starting to spiral down, which is amazing. The Fed meets next month.
Yeah.
And we're really, really crossing our fingers. They're saying, don't quote me on this, but 80% chance that the Fed lowers rates.
Okay.
But as we've mentioned in previous podcasts,
Right. There are no promises.
there's no promises, number one, but number two is I think it's already priced into the mortgage rates.
Well, see, and that was my take on it. As soon as I saw the starting to fall the end of last week, I'm like, that's great for now. And it's good for buyers out there. If you're a buyer, now might be the time to buy. But, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But for a first-time buyer, what are we looking at? I know every situation's different, but on an FHA, which is traditionally the lower end of the interest rates, what are we looking at?
Decent credit, just your average FHA transaction, anything maybe over a 680 credit score. National average, I want to say, is about 6.125 today.
Okay.
So very low sixes. You can potentially, without a lot of cost, get into the high fives even today. So we have moved down quite a bit.
That's what I was hoping you were going to say, under that 6 mark.
We're getting there. We're so close.
So close.
But, a week and a half ago, I was telling everybody 6.5.
Right.
So to be there in a week, that's great. And there really isn't any news between now and next week.
Okay.
And here we are in early to mid-August of 25. There's not much news that's going to change that between now and mid next week.
Right.
So next week comes out the inflation, the PPI, CPI numbers for August, and that will dictate a lot what happens prior to September.
Okay.
But as mentioned, for buyers out there, if you're waiting for the Fed to lower rates in September, my humble, experienced opinion, I'll leave it at that, is we've gotten our break now. It's come down. When the Fed does lower rates next month, we might see mortgage rates trickle a little bit. So right now is actually a great time to take advantage of
the
that.
market now.
Absolutely.
Because chances are it's probably not going to go down further, and then everybody's going to jump in the market at that time, thinking that's the time when it's actually now.
It's actually now. It usually happens 3 to 4 weeks before the Fed drops it, and it is a high likelihood. I have my humble opinion is 25 basis points.
Yeah.
A lot of people think 50 basis points in September. So, but I do believe by the end of the year, end of 25, we will be down 75 basis points. So I think 25 this time, and towards the end of the year, we'll get another 50 basis point drop as long as these numbers stay good.
I hope you're right.
Not good, but good for interest rates, I should say.
Well, right. Good for our world.
Yes, yes. But on a different note, take advantage of the interest rate, guys. Call your professionals, Google it, do whatever. But right now, they're the lowest rates we've seen in a long time. In a long time, actually. So, but on a different note, Mike, today it's all you.
Well, yeah. In working with your professionals, who you're going to work with, how do you go about picking who you're going to work with when you're buying a home? It's the most important purchase of your life. And you need to be working with somebody you have that vibe with, you can gel with them. And it's really important. And everybody's going to tell you they're the right person for you, but it's ultimately up to you to decide. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
Well, I have a lot of questions for you today.
Okay.
And Mike's going to
Let's
get
get
drilled,
into it.
but that's why he's here. This is his world. We're going to learn from Mike today. And I will tell you, from my experience with any real estate agents that I've ever worked with in the past, the one who cares. You know, I know everybody acts like they care, and most of them do care. But, you know, a lot of them see sale. The one who actually cares, listens, has 2 ears and 1 mouth, really caters to your needs, is the one that usually worked with me. And that's why I got along with you from the very beginning, because you're that guy. I feel like, I feel like you would look at my family as if it was your own.
Absolutely. And we actually have a term for these agents out there that are just trying to get the sale.
Mm-hmm.
We call it, they have commission breath.
Commission
All
breath.
they can
Ooh.
see is the sale.
Mm-hmm.
And me personally, when I'm speaking with a client, they're not just buying a house today. They're buying a lifetime relationship with me.
Correct.
And it's not about the sale today. It's about helping your brother, your sister, your parents, your kids, your grandkids, helping them get their home 3, 5, 10 years from now. I'm not into it just for today.
Well,
This is my
it's a career, it's a lifestyle,
Exactly.
it's not just a job. And that's what I tell anybody getting into lending or real estate. You know, you have to be prepared to make this a lifestyle.
Right.
It's not just a job where you go in, go out, and you turn it off. No, it's a lifetime relationship. You're 100% right, and you have to be prepared to answer those questions all the time.
Right.
At a barbecue, at a family barbecue, or anywhere, they're going to ask you these questions because people care. People need your advice. They don't understand it sometimes.
Right.
But I want to start here, if I can, for the consumer out there. When is it the best time to pick or to call your agent? When do you start this process? Is it the day you want to sell? Is it before? Tell me.
So when you're looking to make a move, whether it be you're buying for the first time or you're selling your home and you need to move up, move down, whatever the case might be, earlier is better. Call your agent, talk to your agent, let them know your goals. Be open and honest. Say, hey, I need to sell my house. I need to be in New York by the end of summer. Okay, let's make it happen. And I'm going to have the conversation. What do you have as a timeline already? And we can work off that. And
Well, and Mike, I think that the earlier the better that they reach out
right.
to you, the better. Because, folks, if you're at home and you say, I need to move by September 1st and it's here August 7th, you're in a bind. You're not in what I call the driver's
probably
seat.
not realistic unless you can afford to move and leave your house vacant for a little bit.
Or even
That's the exception.
Even in mid-August, you have to move on October 1st.
Right.
Even that's cutting it close, guys. I mean, it takes time. This is a process. And your realtor, a good
Right.
realtor, is going to learn that process. And you need to contact them so that way you can see what your options are. But like I always say to my clients is stay in the driver's seat. Don't be forced on a timing issue
Right.
to make decisions you may not want to make.
Right. And the market's always changing. The earlier you are to plan this, the better. So if it is a strong seller's market, I might tell you, hey, hold up. You got plenty of time. Things are selling in a week or so you can wait a little bit longer. In today's current market, we're in a buyer's market right now, guys. If you need to sell and you want to get to where you're going quickly, you want to get it on the market sooner the better. So it is always a variable. So talk to your agent, get a plan of action together.
Even if you're just kicking tires,
Right,
just make
right.
the phone call,
Yeah,
right?
Right. Give us a call. Know where you're standing. Any good agent is going to get an estimated net sheet for you. They're going to let you know financially where you're going to be at based on a sales price of the current market value.
Right, right. And that goes in with picking your professionals. Okay,
Right.
so now let's talk about this. So, you've made the call, you've spoke to your realtor or team. So how do you pick your realtor? Okay, so now obviously everybody's different. Everybody feels different when it comes to the vibes that you
Right.
talk about and meshing and gelling. But, what are the advantages of working with maybe a single realtor or a team of realtors? Do you see an upside and a downside to both, or no difference, whatever you're comfortable with? I mean, how do you feel about that?
Absolutely a great question. And there's pros and cons to both sides.
Okay.
A single agent, if they have experience, that's always a plus. If you have any type of personal relationship with that person, your kids play sports together, meet them at the dog park, whatever the case may be. If you have that personal relationship, you get along, that's great. As far as a single agent's going to go, typically a single agent is going to work hard for you, and you're going to stay with that person from the start to the finish of the transaction. Versus if you go with a team, typically you're going to start with one person, end with somebody else, and there might be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 other people in the middle that you're dealing with. And it's usually more of a business transaction feel, not that personal experience most people want when they're buying a home.
What are the pros to that, though?
The pros are they're typically very well organized. All your deadlines are very laid out. There's going to be a concise plan of attack. You're going to look at 5 homes, you're going to buy one. You're going to have a home inspection in 3 days, appraisal in 10 days, so on and so forth. And it's going to all be laid out for you right from the start. While that's fantastic most of the time, there needs to be a little more flexibility. You may have questions that come up. Is that who on the team do you contact? That's always a question
Right.
I hear out there. I work by myself as a solo agent, but I hear from people all the time. They weren't sure who to contact. They didn't know. The person I called didn't know. They're going to reach out to somebody else. They're going to call me back. And typically with working with a big team, getting a hold of somebody on the weekends is very rare, unless you're still in the looking process. Once you're into contract, you're not going to get your answers you need until Monday.
So I have a little thing to add and maybe somewhat disagree with that. Okay, so I can speak on my own behalf. So
Yeah.
I have myself and I have 2 people on my team, as you
Right.
know. And I'm a firm believer in what you just said. Who do I call? I've run into that problem. And you can call anybody, really, but I try to, whoever really starts the transaction usually ends up working with that person the entire transaction
Right.
because I used to run into those issues.
Right.
But I will tell you, the advantage of having a team is you have however many people, they are monitoring your
Right.
your transaction. They are watching over it. It feels like your deadlines will never be missed on accident just because, I'm a one-man person. I've got 3 kids. What if I have to be somewhere with my kids and you need something right away?
Right.
I do have a team member that can help with that. So and you do too, actually. I mean,
Well, yes.
absolutely. We all have people covering
Well,
our desks.
people that cover us.
But
yeah.
one of the biggest advantages I've seen with a team, and maybe not so on a real estate side, is when you need something, whether it's Monday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, there should be somebody available
Right.
to help you. Now, if they're a good team,
Well-
in my opinion.
And that's where, you need to vet who you're working with.
Right.
Because, and I speak specifically for real estate teams because I see it all the time. They'll specifically state on the MLS that they're not available on the weekends.
What?
Yes. All
They
the time.
say that?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I
if
can
you
tell you, I
submit
wouldn't
an
hire that
offer,
person. Yeah.
it'll be reviewed the next business day.
Okay.
So not on the weekends. And you're right. I've told you this before when I've been on the listing side of a transaction. I will call a mortgage lender to verify a pre-approval.
Of course, right.
I love calling them at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
I know he's that guy. You are that guy. You
if
are.
the lender answers, they're amazing to work with.
Right.
So it's a double-edged sword either way. But in general, with the real estate side especially, you're going to get a much more personalized experience with an individual agent.
And I'll follow. I'll tag to that because I'll be honest with you. I do like the more personable experience
Right.
personally, but I do feel it's necessary to have other people available. Like you have other agents in
Right.
your office, Krista a lot too.
Yes.
They help you, and maybe one day we'll have them on the show, or if they
Right.
will.
Yeah, if I
but-
can convince her.
If you can convince her, but I mean,
Do you hear that, Krista?
yeah, Krista, we're talking to you. But you know, that's nice that you have people covering and helping, but at the same time, you are dealing with one individual, which
Right.
is, and that individual should care. So,
Yeah.
but let's go into what each agent does. Okay, so picking your team, but you know, you have to pick your team to your needs. So we
Right.
have, in the residential world, and correct me if I'm wrong, we have two types of agents. You have a buyer's agent and a listing agent.
Correct.
When it comes to purchases and
Right.
sales. So let's start with the buyer's agent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because we talk about the listing side a lot, but let's talk about the buyer's agent process. So how do you vet your buyer's agent? What should a first-time home buyer be looking for in their buyer's agent?
Number one for a buyer's agent is availability. So many agents in this business are part-time agents. They're good people. They want to do well. But if they're not available on your schedule to go view homes, it's not going to work.
Especially in the seller's market.
Especially
you got to
in the
look, and
seller-
you got to look now,
Yeah,
right?
no, when
that can happen.
those homes come on the market in the seller's market, you have to go right now.
Yeah.
Even you as the buyer might need to change your schedule then.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. So, schedule is probably priority number one. Experience. Are they experienced? Have they worked? How many homes have they sold? How many homes have they sold in the last year? That's an important thing. Do they need to sell 100 homes? No. If they sold 100 homes, you're probably not going to get that personal experience. But if they sold 10, 15, 20, that's a good number. And
Okay.
they know what they're doing. They know what's going on in the current
So
market.
you're saying these are questions you should ask?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what if an agent, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, because I agree with you, but I'm playing devil's advocate. What if your agent isn't always actively doing it, but they're available? Let's say
Right.
they're available, but they've been doing it 20 years.
If they've been doing it 20 years, but they're not a lot of going on currently, I might say talk to another agent just to see if they're the right fit.
Okay.
If it's somebody you've done business with in the past and you like the way they work,
No, let's talk about the first-time buyer.
first time.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
the first-time buyer.
you might want to talk to another agent that's doing business currently. This market is always changing.
I love that.
From week
Always
to week,
changing.
month to month, and year to year. Whatever happened 3 months ago is different today. It really is. This is probably, honest to God, the one thing I remember from real estate school 20 plus years ago is that the real estate market is
showing your
like a
age now, Mike.
pendulum. I know, tell me about it. But the real estate market is like a pendulum. It's always swinging back and forth. One side you have a seller's market, the other side you have a buyer's market. And it's somewhere in between that extreme pendulum swinging every day. It's never in the same spot day to day.
Well, each house is different too.
Absolutely.
One house could be hot, one house could be not.
Yeah.
But let's shift back. So picking your buyer's agent.
Mm-hmm.
And picking your buyer's agent, Mike, okay, what's a good buyer's agent do? Do they go vet properties? Or, you know, in my opinion, a good buyer's agent for a first-time home buyer is going to say, because everybody can look online.
Right.
They can pick out their houses. You don't need an agent to send you houses
Right.
in today's world. So you need an agent, though, to know what your needs are
Yes. Yes.
and weed out the houses that you think you want to see, but you probably won't.
Right.
Am I wrong?
You need to have a buyer consultation between the agent and the buyer all the time, every time. Because you're right. The agent needs to know what you're looking for in a property. What are the absolute must-haves, can't misses? How often is your agent out previewing properties? Do they look daily what's coming on the market? Any agent can set you up on a search, but are they actually looking at the homes themselves?
Search is automated, let's be real.
Well,
most of them.
most of them are.
Yeah.
When I set up a search for my clients, I do it a little differently. They have a mode where I get it set up in the MLS. I set it to where I get it first. I preview the property, and if I think there's a chance that they might like it, I forward it to my clients.
Wow.
So when my clients receive an
agents
email,
don't do that, Mike.
no, I know they don't.
Most agents don't do
I
that.
know they don't. But when my clients receive an email with the property, there's going to be some level of interest. And I'm also going to follow up with them, say, hey, I just sent you an email with 3-4 properties, whatever the case might be. A lot of times it's only one property if there's not a lot coming onto the market. And I'll follow up with them at the end of the day. Hey, did you have a chance to take a look at that? What were your thoughts? And if we need to schedule an appointment to go view it, we absolutely will.
Okay, that's good. So this is, guys, this is what, you should be looking for in your agent. Somebody who's working for you and for your needs, I guess is the best way to put that. So let's talk briefly. We've talked a lot over the last few episodes about picking your listing agent.
Yes.
Okay, your listing agent, your listing team. I know in the past, previous podcasts, you've mentioned who's going to get professional photos, who's going to do, certain things. So, just maybe a brief synopsis on the listing side. What should you be looking for? Because obviously you've already bought before.
Right.
You're not a first-time buyer at this point. If you're listing your house to sell, you already own a home.
So every agent, they're going to tell you they're going to get your home sold, they're going to put it on the MLS. That's absolutely correct. But how are they going to portray it on the MLS? Number one, going back to professional photos, videos, do they put the floor plans of the house with the photos so that people can actually see what they're doing, what they're looking at?
They're not guessing.
Right. All of that stuff is important. And then above and beyond, what else are they going to do? Here, Real Estate Simplified, I feature listings every week. So it gets some extra eyeballs looking at your home. I also go to agent networking events once a week where I showcase properties similar to what we do here, but literally in front of 50 agents every week, person to person.
I have something to add. If you're looking for a listing agent, one thing I want everybody to please remember this. This is just my humble opinion and my experience. And you want somebody who, if you got multiple offers, you need somebody who knows how to handle multiple offers, because that can be a difference in a much bigger bottom line for you.
Right.
It could be a much bigger negotiating tool for you. The right agent. A bad agent is just going to say, come over this number.
Right.
Or whatever it is. So I'll let you maybe elaborate more on that.
Well, yeah. This is getting into the nuts and bolts of selling your home a little bit, but if you do have multiple offers, there's what's called a multiple offer counteroffer, where you can set this offer one is perfect except for these, and these terms. So you counter those terms. Offer two is perfect except for 3 different items. And offer 3 is nearly perfect completely except for 1 item. You don't have to counter all the offers with the exact same terms. You do the multiple counteroffer, and each one can be custom to that specific buyer.
That's right.
To get the best deal for you. So yeah, you want to work with an agent that's experienced. They know the neighborhood. They don't have to be an expert on the neighborhood per se. I work 90% on referrals and literally all over the valley. Do I know every intricacy of every neighborhood in the valley? No, I don't.
But you know how to sell a home.
I know how to sell a home.
And you know which homes
and
are
I
good to buy.
know the basics of each neighborhood.
Excuse me.
I've never lived in Desert Shores, but I know there's 3 lakes. There's shops and restaurants. There's a little shopping center on the lake there. I know what's going on in the area. So yeah, you just want to find somebody that knows what they're doing.
No, it's true. It really is.
It's the
you just
bottom
don't want
line.
Somebody who has commission breath.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
and speaking of commissions also, especially when you're picking a listing agent, the cheapest commission isn't always the best deal.
correct.
They might just put it on the MLS because they think they're not getting as much money. So you want to really see what they're doing, what they offer to you as far as marketing your home, because I will tell you, I'm going to sell your home for absolute top dollar versus another agent. If they can't negotiate for their own commission, how are they going to negotiate for you? And that's where I'm going to leave
Oh,
that.
that's a really good point. I like that, Mike.
So, yeah.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that. Even on the lending side, I'm going to use that. So
Right.
I have 2 more questions, and we're running out of time. So
You're good.
The first question I have is, what if you're selling to buy? Is it something that you want to keep the same agent? In your opinion, obviously everybody's different, but this is, opinion-based. If you're selling your home to buy, is it better to use the same agent or team?
Yes. And there's a reason for that. It's because your listing agent knows everything going on with your current transaction to sell your home. So they're going to work out the terms and negotiate the best deal for you when you're buying a home to make it all work and seem seamless. A lot of times people end up having to move twice. No, you shouldn't really have to unless it's a crazy market on one extreme or the other.
Not in today's world. You shouldn't have to do that.
The current market, that's totally not necessary. So you want to be sure and work with an agent that knows you, knows what you need out of the transaction, besides the money part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, the logistics comes into play.
Now, is it something where, and I shouldn't talk like this, but it's a question that comes up, I guarantee you. Are you going to give a deal to sell if they're buying? Are you getting a deal one way or the other? How does that work? I know it's all negotiable and it's all client specific, but generally, would there be some kind of incentive to keep the same person other than, that person knowing your transaction?
Usually there is. When you're doing two transactions at the same time with the same agent, I will charge you on the selling side, and on the buyer's side, as long as we get the seller to pay the commission on your buying transaction, you will get a credit from me back at the closing table.
So that's important.
Towards your closing costs.
Again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot with that, but these are questions that people
they're
may want to
legitimate questions.
ask, or they do ask, and they
Yes.
don't know where they're shy to ask these questions.
Right.
You're going to pay somebody a lot of money, and then the seller's going to pay them a lot of money again, and maybe something you can help and benefit from.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
Last question I have
Yes.
before the real estate update, the market
Yeah.
update is, this happens a lot in Las Vegas. If you live here and you're selling to move out of state, do you call two different realtors in two different states? Do you start somewhere? How does that? What do you recommend?
So talk to your listing agent. I can tell you I have a network of agents all around the country that I speak to on a fairly regular basis, and we can get you a referral. I actually just completed a transaction for a client that is moving to Michigan and sold their home here. I referred them to an agent in Michigan, and literally the day of closing last week, they were missing a document that the lender needed. It was actually a document that's normally not needed for a closing from the prior sale. I was able to get it within 10 minutes.
Because you guys worked together.
Right. That relationship was there with the other agent, and we were able to get that going.
You already swear by your listing agent. You already like your listing agent. So why wouldn't you take a recommendation in a different state from
Right.
your listing agent? Now, I know, Mike, you and Krista, especially Krista's really into that. I mean,
Yes.
she's traveled all over the country for that stuff. I
Right.
mean, and met these agents and developed good relationships with
Yeah.
these people. And I think that's awesome and important. And same going with a bank. Your bank could be national. If you need a loan, you can call your bank that you did your loan with here,
Right.
and they may have a recommendation in the state that you're working in, somebody in that same company. So I do believe in that. I agree with you. I think you should always check with your relationship here. They may know somebody. So,
Right. Most
but,
definitely.
Thanks for all the info. I know it was a lot today, but tell us one last thing, Mike. Las Vegas real estate market. Are we rocking? Are we moving? What's going on?
The market is still steady. However, our under contracts, homes under contract are up 1.6% week over week. That's trending in the right direction, guys.
Because rates are
I
coming
attribute
down.
that to the rate change.
I don't want to say anything, but
Yeah, no, rates are coming down a little bit. Buyers are jumping in the market. And something we are seeing a little bit of, seller fatigue. What is seller fatigue? They're breaking down and giving away the house? No, I wish it was not the case at all. Sellers are tired of showing the home. And because inventory is a little bit on the higher side, buyers have a lot to look at. They're looking at everything. So sellers are getting tired of having a lot of showings and no offers. And those sellers that are in a spot where they don't have to absolutely sell, we're seeing them pull the houses off the market. In the last week, 398 homes came off the market. The week before was 389. Each of those weeks was 20% higher than 3 weeks ago.
Right.
So,
Well, but even just more homes going into escrow.
Right.
with the lower rates goes to prove one of
Well,
our previous podcasts.
exactly.
Don't wait, guys, because once those rates go down, that pendulum that Mike was
Right.
talking about is going to start swinging.
Yeah, so if people are taking their homes off the market and the amount of homes going under contract is rising,
Exactly.
we're going to start seeing inventory come down a little bit. And actually, it fluctuated down just ever so slightly this last week. Nothing significant, but by about 50 homes.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm interested to see what happens over the next
Yeah.
couple of weeks. But thanks for your time today, Mike. Everybody, please like, subscribe,
Thumbs up.
follow us, ask questions in the comments. Guys, we'll address them. So great talk,
All
Mike.
right.
Thanks, as always.
fantastic. See you next week.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to